Hey, welcome back. Could I get Nick Beecham up here again real quick? Nick? Where's Nick? Is Nick still in the house? Did he disappear? He's probably getting a beer or taking a piss. All right, well, before we keep going too far, there's a couple things that I think we missed earlier that we wanted to talk about. So, first of all, next month, 2 days after the next SEC DSM on Saturday, there's B-Sides Iowa, where B-Sides Iowa is kind of a great, another information security, like entire like day-long conference from like 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. We're going to have a lot of representation there. There's going to be a lot of great talks coming from all over the country coming to talk at Grandview College on April 22nd. So it's all day long. I recommend going to bsidesiowa.org and signing up, get your tickets, so and plan on spending all day. There's also going to be a CTF there, a Capture the Flag event that is actually going to be put on by some members of SEC DSM. So that'll be awesome. And if you want experience on some Capture the Flags, if you like don't know what a Capture the Flag event is or how to get involved, or you want to do something but you don't know where to go, we're forming a Capture the Flag team. And so it's March 29th through April 14th. There's a Capture the Flag event called PICO CTF. It's designed for high school kids, so we thought it'd be great for us, right? So if you get on the Slack channel, there's a room in there called CTF, and that's kind of where we're organizing the team effort. So go on Slack, join the CTF channel, and we'll like post the credentials to the account, and so that we can get access to the scoreboard and all the challenges starting on the 29th of March through April 14th. But anyways, Nick, come on up. So Nick's a first-time speaker tonight, and we started a tradition here at SEC DSM. It's not giving a shot, but it's here's wanted to present you your very own SEC DSM T-shirt, limited edition, right? SEC DSM for talking here tonight at SEC DSM. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if you want to save $20, just come give a talk at SEC DSM. Go to Bitbucket on secdsm.org. Create a pull request, of the website with like the talk you want to give, and then you're giving a talk. So.
There's a YouTube video on how to do it.
I think I even made a change once, so it's got to be easy.
Yeah, we reverted that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Two other things. So there's a movie coming out called Ghost in the Shell. We're talking about putting together a viewing night where like we first watch the anime movie like at somebody's house, and then we'll go to like, I don't know, Flicks or something like that and watch it. When is that? The end of the month? Is that the 31st also? Yeah. So join on Slack, and then we'll organize that, so that we can all get together and watch it at somebody's house that wants a bunch of hackers over, and then go watch the new release. And then one last thing, in 2 weeks on March 29th at 7 p.m. at Area 515, which is a local makerspace, Sherry Davidhoff from LMG Security out of Missoula, Montana, is in town, and she's giving a talk entitled "How Companies Get Hacked and What You Can Do About It." They actually do some penetration testing and security stuff. I know Sherry through DEF CON. Her company is actually the one that puts on the network forensics competition that I always seem to get second place in. So. First place loser. So she's giving a talk March 29th, just in a couple weeks at 7 p.m. at Area 515, which is literally down the street this way. So area515.org, I think they've got all the directions to them. But anyways, so with that. Oh yeah, B-Sides is free, as in beer and speech. So yeah, I think the only thing I talked about tonight that costs any kind of money would be going to an actual movie theater to watch a movie. Everything else I think is free. So come participate, join Slack, and with that I'll turn it over to Mr. Subra, who's going to exfiltrate all your data.
I think I have to give my T-shirt back because I'm up here twice in one night. So, all right, give me 1 moment here. Let's start at the beginning, not the end. All right. All right, so Nate Subra, yeah, same person as before, mostly. Yeah, so disclaimer. So I'm going to talk about a couple things tonight, and I hate it when people give knee-jerk reactions and start blocking things because that's stupid. That's not the answer. So just a quick disclaimer. We're going to talk about some things that might seem like big issues. They're not as big as you think. So, but we'll. I digress. We'll talk about this later. So. So first off, so just want to kind of get some common ground. So what is exfiltration? So it's moving stuff from point A to point B. That's literally what exfiltration is, right? But point A is your network, point B is my network. So that's why it's a bad thing. So command and control is exfiltration round trip. So there's stuff coming back, right? So they can use the same channels, but they often won't, right? So we're going to talk a little bit more about what that actually looks like on the network side. But just understand that a lot of the hacks, and you can go to attack.miter.org and pull up exfiltration. A lot of the hacks out there have had they've had separate exfiltration, meaning that they're sending commands into your network using one channel and then pulling data out using another channel. So, for example, commands via HTTP, exfil via DNS. But there's also been attacks that use combined channels. So exfil and C2 happen over HTTP, so combined. So, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So, just to set that. So what does exfiltration look like? So basically, somebody hops on your box and they pull this up, and there's a nice little GUI with a progress bar, and you get like a time here. Start send, you hit Y, and then you hit the button, and then all of a sudden your data pops up in China. So actually, it's not quite that easy. Well, it is easy, but it's not. It doesn't have the pretty GUI yet. I'm working on it. So. Disclaimer, I'm a former Lockheed Martin person, so I love the kill chain. You can tackle me later. But so where does exfil happen? And the whole reason I'm bringing this up is exfil happens here, right? All the way at the end of the kill chain. So that means that somebody has already done reconnaissance on your network, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation. They've already had C2. That's why these are both red. It's kind of a blurry area, right? Because they can use the same channel. But that means they're already past the front gate, the front door. They're already in your bedroom, right? So that's why I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, because there's a lot of people that focus on exfiltration, that they're going to block exfiltration on their network. That is okay if you've got all this other stuff taken care of, right? If you've already got the front door, locks on the front door, if you've already got the windows closed. So this is something that if you're trying to take care of it before you've actually implemented other security precautions, you're doing it wrong. My opinion, it's right, but whatever. All right, so, and again, exfiltration is anything that move bits from point A to point B, right? And so a lot of people that I've talked to on the pen testing world, it's this magic smoke, right? They don't understand, like, what's the cell phone extraction company? I can't think of it right now. Cellbrite, 800 gigs. How the hell does 800 gigs move out of anyone's network with nobody noticing it? I have a residential line, and I check that every 2 weeks. So, I mean, somebody was obviously not paying much attention. So, but anyway, we're gonna try and demystify that a little bit and actually show what exfiltration is and make it so it's not magic smoke. It's actually something you can kind of look at and understand. So, first off, exfiltration is really easy. So, C2 is really easy. So, my bottom line is, does it have an API, or has somebody written an API for it? Then I can probably exfiltrate data with it or make a C2 channel. So it's easy. So I'll show you. I actually made a C2 channel just for tonight. So, yeah, and you can get your money back if I'm wrong. So, how it really works. So, my favorite, so I was talking to somebody today. They had an air gap network, or not air gap network. They had a network that had multiple firewalls, IDSs, IPSs in between, with only RDP allowed. Anyone know anything about RDP and that you can copy and paste from RDP sessions? Yeah. So yeah, copy paste. So yeah, that worked really well. So I exfiltrated a lot of data via the copy command. So this is what exfiltration actually is, right? It's using common tools. It's using trusted applications. It's using real working commands to just move data from point A to point B. It's not some mystical science. It's literally just basic commands. It's commands that people use daily, and that's why it's so easy to miss, right? So, thumb drive. All right, so, and again, I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence in this room, but most of your security tools are not designed to block exfiltration. So if you've ever done data exfiltration on a client or a network, you'll know that the holes are very obvious. They're very gaping. They may take a little bit of theatrics and acrobatics, but they're pretty easy to navigate if you know that they're there. So we're going to dig into this a little bit later. So to kind of tackle the issue again, there's exfiltration can use pretty much any vector. So a lot of people say, I have DLP, I have IDS. Your DLP, there's DLP tools out there that cover FTP, but do they also cover WebDAV? I think there's one tool out there that covers WebDAV, one that I'm aware of. Cloud storage, so your DLP scans everyone's Dropbox, right? Even if you don't use Dropbox in the enterprise, right? So it uses that, so that's totally covered. Email, yeah, you probably have DLP on your commercial email, but do you have it for my personal Gmail? Let's check in that, right? So DNS, we actually do kind of watch DNS now and then. Most SOCs do. So I don't know how email made its way in there. Ignore that. So do you check HTTP posts, WebSocket? There's a lot of different methods that we can use to move data out of your network. Even more. So okay, so maybe your magical tool, your mythical silver bullet, does do all those things, but can it decrypt AES without the key? Can it open password protected files? Decrypt PGP? I can't even get the damn PGP command line tools that work half the time. So yeah, if your tool can do that, I'll buy it. So Zord files, like, I mean, we're talking about really basic obfuscation. I don't know of any tool out there that automatically unzors files. So at least inline. So ROT13, I've actually used that as a successful method to bypass DLP and IDS IPS. So just really the point I'm trying to hammer home is that most tools are not built to catch this. So don't count on any of these actually saving your bacon if somebody's already that deep in your network. So if your tool does catch something, it's probably because somebody was being dumb. So I Googled hacker. This was in the top 5. So this is what the media thinks of people that work information security. This is a man with a crowbar and a laptop. So yeah, so there we go. Yeah, so almost everyone, if you subscribe to Snort rule sets, if you have a DLP, it detects social security numbers, credit card numbers, et cetera, in plain text. How many people actually transmit those in plain text? So your PCI, your PCI auditor will catch that, maybe. So again, so if you've actually had exfiltration stopped, I would be surprised, very surprised, and it's probably either a teenager or somebody that was drunk on a job. So, anyways, so I just want to talk about, so here's some exfiltration that I've done before on a network. I moved about 2 gigs of data out of a network using a very advanced tool called Netcat. So one of the things I want to throw out there, this is not my website. I do not endorse this website. There's many websites like it. This one is not mine, but I use it. So fake name generator. I can go out there, punch in, I want 50,000 fake identities. These are all randomly generated, so they're not real, right? So, and it's going to give me a Excel or CSV with 50,000 people with credit card numbers, social security numbers, names, longitude, latitude, password, user accounts, emails. And this is what I usually use to test people's Exfil or DLP tools, et cetera, et cetera. So, and you'd be surprised at the number that don't catch something as simple as a TCP connection going out, transferring confidential data, right? So, let's start with the basics. So, yeah. So here's something that you can do very simply. You have a box on the inside, a box on the outside. You get a bunch of fake data, move it through your network. If you don't get a phone call from the SOC, you should probably do something. All right? So just say it. So just a very basic test you can start with, all right? All right, so let's work our way up. A little bit more advanced, all right? So there is a scientific term, metric ass load of tools out there that do data exfil. So, and I'm actually going to demo this one, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So This tool is called DET. It's the Data Exfiltration Toolkit. It's made by Paul Webb, and it has support for all these channels. You're like, oh, that's cool. There's all those different methods. It can thread all those channels and splinter your data over multiple channels. So, and that's actually what I would consider pretty basic right now with data exfiltration. So I'm not talking about moving gigs over one piece of software or one application. I'm talking about splitting it up over 8, right? Automatically. And your kid can do this in his basement in about 15 minutes, right? So, all right, moving on. So, Exfil. This guy is crazy. He's my hero, literally. So, we talked about fun stuff like HTTP. So, this guy has a Python module that will exfil data over an HTTP cookie because we totally look there when we're looking for PII moving out of our network, right? So, oh, and both of these have AES encryption, so you're not going to see what the data is. So, NTP request BGP open, which is hilarious, using routing tables to move PII out of a network, so or confidential data. Quick, who knows what Quick is? Anybody? Bueller? All right. So, all right. Quick education moment. So, Quick is web traffic over port 443, UDP 443. If you're using Chrome, you use Quick. You probably didn't know that. So Google made their own protocol called Quick. It runs over UDP. It's used for lossy type connections. If you open a YouTube page and you're using Chrome and you don't have the GPO to turn it off and you're allowing UDP outbound, you're using Quick more than likely. So F12 developer tools, go. So POP3 authentication. So POP3 authentication, it's cool. So they exfil the data from your network using passwords. So encrypted passwords. So you're like, I shouldn't be able to see this, right? It's totally normal to see 10,000 bad passwords on POP3, maybe. So FTP make directory, so using directory strings. So the point is, if you can imagine it, you can build it, and that's how they can move data out of your network, right? So sky's the limit, literally. This is all well documented. Most of these Python modules are anywhere from 50 to 100 lines, so obviously it took years to develop. So, and there's many others. So this is just a handful that I threw out there. These are all active projects, so by the way. And they use various different methods. So, and we've all seen DNS exfiltration last month, so. All right, demo time, yeah. So here we go. All right, everyone hold your breath. All right, so. Oh, broken pipe. If you guys submit no security.FYI's domain to those thread intel feeds, I will not like you anymore. Let's see. Please hold. While we're working, does anyone have any questions? Come on, no one knew about Quick, really? Really? It uses certificates. It does. I'm a pen tester. I run everything as root. All right, so on the left I have a magical, mythical box that I've set up on a cloud instance for $2.50 a month. That'll hold 10 gigs of your data. I'm going to swipe over here and pull up my box. Hello. And I spun up just for this talk. Yeah, like I'm an 80s operator.
Operators are a very key part.
Please hold while I direct your call. So, yeah, I have big ears. All right. Oh. Okay, I log it as root, but you have to like mitigate that through like, password 123. All right, so here we go. So, oh, we're not supposed to see this yet. All right, so is this is pretty visible, right? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you might want to make the font a little bit bigger.
View.
Zoom in.
All right. Oh, bash. All right, so just real quick. So this is the debt toolkit. Sorry, and I'm gonna just pull this up real quick. So I got all the modules working at one point in time, but some of them are a little bit picky. So like the Gmail Exfil module worked until tonight, 10 minutes before the meeting. So, I went ahead and cut that. So we're going to exfil a test file, which is actually just a bunch of zeros because reasons. So a 10 meg test file using HTTP, TCP, UDP, Slack, and ICMP, right? So, and again, so Slack is one of the big reasons I talked about the disclaimer up front. If you block Slack because of this talk, I will write something in whatever application you use. Swear to God. So Slack is awesome. Don't block it from your network. Your employees will revolt.
So whose Slack are you using?
Yours. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start that. So switch back to our server here that you totally can't see. So, and you can see here, so DET's pretty basic right now. It was only released about 6 months ago. But it automatically threads the file through, it'll randomize the connections that it goes through. So right now it's, you can see, barely see, that it is actually threading through, right now, ICMP, Slack. So it's breaking up that 10 meg file and sending it through multiple application, or through multiple protocols and applications. So
is it set to read all of those channels then?
Yeah. So there's a DET has a server component and a client component. So, and it holds all of its credentials in a JSON file in plain text. Because security guys write the best tools. So, and it also, again, it uses AES encryption with a key that you can set. So, including block size. So.
Is that key in plain text as well?
Yes. So I will say that there is a disclaimer on this site that, and I would never use this on an assessment. No one should use this on an assessment. You should, however, try running this and see what your SOC says. So with your boss's permission. So anyway, so you can see here, I'm not going to wait till my VPS starts coughing back yet. So again, it's spidering it over multiple connections. It's splitting that up. We'll see here, we've got about another minute to go. So flip to the other side. So, and all the ports are customizable. Domains, IPs, it's all customizable. There's actually a Google Drive module, which I actually turned off. So did you know Google Drive has a view command that you can actually use as a web console? It'll render a web page for you. So, and you can use that to transfer data. So, all right. So again, I'm not gonna wait till it finishes. It'll probably be a couple more minutes. So the delays are randomized. It uses between a 1 and 10 second delay. So if you can, in your mind, imagine what this looks like on the NetFlow level. So you're seeing 10 meg transfer split up between. It's been about 2 or 3 minutes. So, all right. So we're gonna go back to the presentation while that goes. So, all right. So now I want to talk about something that I nerd out over pretty hard. So we kind of touched base on it a little bit early on in the 101. They talked about using hard drive LEDs to transfer data. So full disclaimer, I'm in the military, so we have a lot of air gap networks, right? So everyone's heard of Stuxnet, so that stuff works perfectly. I actually follow a lot of this stuff pretty closely. So it's my dream one day to use a building's lights to transfer a couple megs of data. So it's going to happen. If anyone has a building controller that can do that, call me. So, unfortunately tonight I actually ordered a blink light kit that I was going to show you guys a little bit of custom scripting. So you can see here, how many lights does that have? 8. Yeah, perfect number, right? So yeah, so it's pretty easy to feed that into a camera and read it via either OCR or there's a couple other image techniques to read that. So and does anyone know that they are developing a technology to transfer data via LEDs, line of sight, and they're hitting 10 gigs a second with it? Yeah, yeah. So no fiber, right? Pretty crazy, right? So this, a lot of people like to say, like, okay, pull your head out of your ass, walk away from that nation state. This is not as far-fetched as you think. Does anyone know what SSTV is? Any hams in here? Yeah, right. So hey, this is not new, right? We've been modulating and encoding data for a long time. And I actually have a really quick demo that I'm going to do of out-of-band stuff. So, and I also want to throw this up here. So, again, I'm sorry. I wish I had the blinky light presentation. I think it fell off the boat. I literally ordered it 2 months ago, and I just got a tracking number. So, but anyway, oops. Here's some of the other projects that are going on right now that have POCs publicly available for moving data using what I call out-of-band techniques. So like, yeah, you totally have an IDS for your refresh rate on your monitor, right? So, so that was actually one of the cooler projects. So has anyone ever taken a video of your monitor? You've seen the refresh rate, right? So the way this works is they can reduce it or increase it by around 5 hertz, which, depending on the accuracy of the camera, gives you 2 or 3 bits to play with. Invisible bits. So somebody could actually be working at a computer and there's a camera mounted behind them and they're exfiltrating data. Yes, sir. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, about how you're going to throw away all your electronics in a couple minutes. So no, we will. I do have a defensive slide or two at the end. So yeah. There's the wine's over there. So so everyone's heard of there's been a ton of audio techniques that are actually coming into play here pretty recently. So guys, check that out. So that was actually, I spent a couple nights on the couch working on this. So about trying to get some data modulation working here. So I didn't manage what I want, but I'll give a brief demo of what I did get working about a data transfer method that a lot of people probably have used but forgotten. So then blinky lights, right? So we had that. So on, off, 0, 1. It's, it's not too hard to connect the dots there. So, all right, so demo time. Let's see here if I can manage this. Here, quick, somebody else scan that QR code, see what happens. Do it, I dare you. Come on. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm not responsible for any content that flashes across my phone during this demo. So, all right, here we go. So I found this really cool app, and the only audio technique that I was able to successfully get working, and I wanted to just show you guys that this is actually a real thing. It's actually pretty cool. So 1 second, just give me, bear with me. No laughs yet. Just wait. You gotta be quiet too, because I don't know, like talking, I think it's E-A-A. So, all right, talks. Yep, that's where I put it. Okay, are we ready? Volume up. Okay. Shh. Oh no! 1 second. Let me actually put it by the speaker. All right. Oh, if this fails, that's lame. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong file. So anyway, that's one of the, I mean, like, so I actually played around with, I've got a JavaScript file that's fully self-contained that I'm working to integrate with a Python script to generate tones for, so my end goal is to make a base, to encode stuff into base 64 and then do it over Morse code. But I ran into some issues with, I don't have a good enough microphone to pick that up. But the microphone's on its way. So, much to the chagrin of my wife, it costs about $200. So, yes, sir. Okay, yeah, let's do this, man. It's happening. So, I feel like I'm getting stared at. All right, so, okay. All right. So where were we? Oh yeah. So okay, out of band transmission. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have the blinky light transmission tonight. So but I wanted to remind people that if you can do it with the alphabet, you can probably move data very slowly, but it's still possible. So okay. So yeah. So I'm gonna expose you guys to some very terrible things. So bear with me. Yeah. So. Basically, a lot of this ideas for this talk came about from an argument I got with a coworker about whether or not something was possible or not, which is the worst thing to ever challenge somebody with. So let's just say there was a theoretical company that was very heavy in cloud, and they're like 70% developers, and pretty well done security, right? So how do you get into something like that? They're watching for new. It's hard to register cloud VPSs. New domains, they're going to pick up on that. It's something like that. So one of the big things that every good pen tester, red teamer should do is you learn to live off the land. You look at what the client environment is using, HipChat, Slack, etc. Amazon, so AWS. So people totally notice when there's channels going out to AWS when they use AWS. That's not whitelisted at all. So anyway, so I built a little tool using PowerShell because PowerShell is better than Python. Come fight me, bro. And it's also on, runs on like 90% of the stuff that I work on. So, and it uses Slack as a C2 channel. So I just want to demo that real quick. This took me way longer than it should have. Probably about a grand total of 8 hours of dev time. So and the point I'm trying to make is not that Slack is bad. It's that any determined person with a little bit of, I do not consider myself a good programmer, a good coder, but I can copy and paste, and I know how to use REST APIs, so I'm dangerous. I'm just going to demo real quick. So back to, so hello. So basically, oh, it's not running anymore. 1 second. So basically, I wrote a bot that runs via Slack channel commands. So you can do some fun stuff with it. So, and this is the demo, right? This is really rough, shoddy code. Like somebody that actually knew what they were doing could probably whip this together. But the point I'm trying to make isn't that Slack is bad. It's not that coding is bad, but it's not enough to just look at new websites, to look at known bad things. You really need to know how your network works, all right? So this PowerShell code was used as part of an assessment, and it was never caught for 3 weeks. Pretty much from the front end to the tail end of an assessment. Not only that, so and again, so you're talking about a company that uses Slack. So and that's fine, right? Slack is great. Slack is awesome. I love Slack. Giphy, win. I mean, it's awesome. So, but they didn't catch it. Their devs use it all the time. This was running on one of their servers. All right, so are your servers ever going to be connected to Slack? Maybe, if you have like a bot running, right? So it's totally in the realm of possibility. But the point is that you need to understand your networks well enough that you're looking for where things should be connecting from, right? Should your developer boxes be connecting to Slack? Very, very likely, right? Should your servers ever be connecting directly to Slack? Probably not, right? Yeah, no. James is like, yeah, don't do it. So, yeah, it's, yeah. So okay, here's my Exfil demo, and here's how nasty my code is because I can't get run-in functions working here. So, no, demo fail. All right, well, you guys won't suffer through that picture anyways. So anyway, the point is that any application in your network can probably use for Exfil. So I'm going to go ahead and roll into the next slide and maybe give Mike a little bit of hope. So, yeah. All right, so how do we combat Exfil? So number one, remember what we talked about at the beginning, right? We don't start at the tail end. You don't try and catch the guy after he's broken into your house. Best defense is actually to keep people out in general, and that's really right now where the best money is spent. I know a lot of people that have bought DLP to try and stop something like this, probably one of the worst purchases you can make. DLP is not designed to stop out-of-band exfiltration. It will never work that way, ever. So somebody will come up with a new web app that you can't decrypt the HTTPS circuit on. I'm looking at you, Skype, which, by the way, did you know that you can send messages through Skype via PowerShell? So, yeah, there's a module that's about 95% done out there somewhere. So how do we combat that? So, again, this is really difficult to catch, right? We just watched a 10 meg file take about 5 minutes to transfer, and it went over 6 different mediums. How do you catch something like that? So you really need to step back and look at the big picture and understand how your network works on a daily basis. So, and you guys are probably already collecting a lot of this. You guys probably already have access to a lot of this information, right? So, and it really all revolves around it's big data, really, security big data. So DNS stats, web filtering stats, interzone net flow, and that's important because of those out-of-band attacks, right? So if you see 20 gigs of data coming from a SQL server moving over the internet, that's probably an issue. But do you catch it if it's moving to a user workstation? Is that something that would be concerning to you? Probably, right? So can you actually check stuff? Can you actually catch stuff that's moving inside your network to different places, right? So a lot of people, we talk a lot about insider threat, about people, doing that initial malware drop. What about somebody actually picking up that Exfil, that 800 gigs of data, and walking off with it, like what happened probably at the CIA? So, so bandwidth service averages, right? So you have to look at your network as a whole and be able to chop it up into logical sections. So you guys are probably already logging all this, but can you break up per application how much bandwidth you're using per day, per building? Do you know on average how much a user uses per day? Do you have alerts set up to tell you when that user breaks a certain threshold? So these are things that you can kind of look at. And again, like I said, looking at these, is this going to cost some money to put in? I mean, even open source, it costs man hours, right? Like you can do this all with an elk stack, no problem. So, but it's going to cost you time to set this up. So the point of the talk is not to beat anyone down. Exfil is really hard to catch. There's a lot of things, better things to put your money into to stop that. But if you're at the point where you feel like you need to start looking out for this, these are some of the things that you can work on and implement to try and catch some of this stuff. And again, so remember, it's not just about new. We get really focused on that. We have threat intel. We look for new threats. How many people look at Amazon CDNs? How many people look at, does anyone know domain fronting, right? So it's possible to use a box that goes to google.com and that basically proxies a web server behind it to forward information, right? So you have to not look at Google. We trust Google, right? We trust Amazon. We trust Slack. You can't blindly trust. You need to understand what is actually going on in between. So again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to come up and ask. So has anyone ever caught an Exfil on its way out? Anybody? No. So neither have I. So I've never worked for a company that's had 800 gigs of data exfiltrated either, but I think I could hopefully stumble across that. We'll see. I'll email info@celebrate.com. We'll find out. Any questions at all? So, but again, yeah, yes, sir.
Can you go into any detail on the BGP open proxy table exfiltration? How it works?
Do you know how BGP works?
A little bit.
No. I say that because I have the same knowledge of BGP as you do. I just know that the transfer happens and it uses the tables. I looked over the code, so I'm not gonna put my foot in my mouth anymore. So, yep. So, and again, so just bring it back. So, this is Nate getting into Nate opinion land right now. So a good IT department, and I'm not even talking security, is probably spending about 20% of their budget on logging nowadays. So yeah, I heard that. So all right. So you got to understand. You got to understand, and I know not everyone has a good IT department. That's okay. I understand that too. But a lot of these stats are probably already being collected for performance reasons at some places. So see if you can tap into those feeds. James, yeah, you James. What's the tool? I can never remember the name of. David Kennedy. It's the is that? Yeah. No. It's the one that looks for C2 channels. Rita. Yeah, Rita. So let's jump back real quick. So I skipped a little bit. Actually, I didn't put it in here because I never edited my slides. So one of the other things you can look for, actually, no, it is time between conversations. So that's how Rita works, right? It actually looks at time between conversations, and it goes, this is not random. This is happening at different intervals, and that's how a lot of these tools work, right? So pretty much any commercial pen testing tool right now, I can specify a 1 second to 8 hour sleep or 20 hours sleep, right? So you got to look at stuff like that. So, what's that?
Your tool is sleeping randomly anyway.
Yep.
So any algorithm is waiting to pick up on, that wasn't even close to a pattern. You can pick up something by
Yeah. But you got to understand. So do you think that uses? So again, zoom back, big picture here. So you're not. If somebody's moving 10 megs off your network, you're not going to catch it. I'm telling you that right now. I'm sorry. Yeah. So if you have 10 megs of data that's going to burn your company to the ground, I am so sorry. But so yeah.
I mean, it seems like the one assumption you're making on your defensive slide here is that data is not. Like if the data that you don't want exfiltrated is encrypted, and if someone has to, like the program to view that data requires you to decrypt the line in the database or something, you can crank that out to a Windows like event log, and then if you see so many decryption.
Yeah. Well, you're making the assumption that your data is encrypted.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. Oh, so sorry.
Just throw that out.
No. So no, I absolutely hear you, and I understand. So I think we have a couple scenarios going here. So and again, so my assumption for this is that as an attacker, I would never move anything plain text off your network ever. So I think you're talking about potentially a database that has encryption built into it, some level, like either a table or row column or a HSM even. So yeah, something like that. That is a good mitigation for that. That's a good point. So yeah, if you want to talk about HSM does handle a lot of different issues, right? Because if the attacker can't get access to that data or has to access it in a way that you can log, then you can catch that. So just make sure you have that logging in place. Yes, sir. It depends. So it depends on your threat modeling. I know of some companies that are that don't let anything DNS out of their network. I mean, they're looking at it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, is it 50%? No, but is it happening? Yes, and I would say that it's on an uptick. I mean, especially what was the article that hit the PowerShell? They're using DNS for C2. This is unheard of. It's like if you haven't used the internet for 8 years. So. So take it with a grain of salt, and this is all, again, this last slide especially is, again, I've never stomped on an 800 gigabyte transfer walking out of my network, or a 10 megabyte transfer, which honestly I don't think anyone's going to be able to catch. So just take it with a grain of salt, understand that every network's different, but if you understand how much data flows through your network every day, from zone to zone, not just in and out from the internet, you'll have a very good chance of actually spotting something like this happening. Somebody moves 20 gigs in a day that they don't normally move, maybe that's something that you should generate an event and look at. So, all right. Any questions? All right, there we go. All right, I think that wraps us up for tonight.
Talk about next month at all?
What's next month?
Yeah, just go to the schedule.
So, 1 second, I'm going to talk about next month real quick. I just got to go to the schedule. All right. Yeah, so next month, again, Area 515 is going to come and give a talk about what their organization does in Des Moines. So really appreciate everyone coming tonight. So we've said it in earlier meets, but you guys make SecDSM. We wouldn't be here without you guys. We've blown past our previous attendance by about 15 people. Area 515 is another group that meets in Des Moines that has similar goals to us. They're more makerspace type, but come next month, help us support them, help build the local community. And then we'll have Stacy Monroe here from Principal CTF giving a talk, and then we're going to have FBI agent here, just for everyone's brief disclosure. So for this talk, due to the information that's going to be presented, we won't be recording it. So if anyone else knows Jordan, he's an awesome guy. He wouldn't put me in jail, maybe. So anyways, definitely come next month. Check us out again. Thank you for coming tonight. So appreciate it.